Class 2 and Class 3 wiring can indeed be run exposed in parking garages, according to the National Electrical Code, specifically the 2014 edition. However, several factors must be considered to ensure compliance and safety. Firstly, it is important to define what constitutes Class 2 and Class 3 wiring. These classifications are based on the voltage and current limitations of the power source. Class 2 circuits are generally considered lower risk due to their lower energy levels, while Class 3 circuits have higher voltage and current limits, thus requiring more stringent installation methods in certain situations. The NEC provides specific tables and articles such as 725.1, 725.3, and associated sections, which delineate the requirements for Class 2 and Class 3 circuits. These sections outline acceptable wiring methods, overcurrent protection, and grounding requirements. Secondly, when considering exposed wiring in a parking garage environment, one must evaluate the potential for physical damage. Parking garages are inherently susceptible to impacts from vehicles, exposure to moisture, chemicals, and other environmental factors. Therefore, even though the NEC may permit exposed wiring, it is essential to ensure the wiring is adequately protected from these potential hazards. This may involve using cable types with robust outer jackets, securing the wiring properly to prevent sagging or displacement, and avoiding routing the wiring in areas where it is likely to be struck or damaged. Thirdly, the NEC addresses the use of raceways for Class 2 and Class 3 wiring in various environments. While raceways are not always mandatory, they provide a superior level of protection for the wiring and can be a prudent choice, especially in harsh environments like parking garages. Raceways such as electrical metallic tubing, intermediate metal conduit, rigid metal conduit, and rigid non-metallic conduit offer excellent mechanical protection and can shield the wiring from moisture, chemicals, and physical damage. The selection of the appropriate raceway type depends on the specific environmental conditions and the level of protection required. Fourthly, support and securing of the wiring is crucial. Even if the wiring is run exposed, it must be properly supported at appropriate intervals to prevent sagging or displacement. The NEC specifies the maximum spacing between supports for different wiring types and sizes. Proper support ensures the wiring remains in place and reduces the risk of damage or strain on connections. Fifthly, consider the presence of other electrical systems and equipment in the parking garage. Class 2 and Class 3 wiring should be installed in a manner that avoids interference with other systems and does not create a hazard. Maintain adequate separation between low-voltage wiring and higher-voltage power circuits. This separation minimizes the risk of electrical interference and prevents accidental contact between different voltage levels. Sixthly, review local amendments and regulations. While the NEC provides a comprehensive set of guidelines, local jurisdictions may have additional requirements or amendments to the code. These local regulations may further restrict the use of exposed wiring or mandate the use of raceways in specific areas. It is essential to consult with the local electrical inspector or building department to ensure compliance with all applicable regulations. Seventhly, consider the specific application of the Class 2 or Class 3 wiring. For example, wiring for fire alarm systems or emergency lighting may have more stringent requirements than wiring for low-voltage lighting or control circuits. The NEC provides specific requirements for these types of systems, and it is crucial to adhere to these requirements to ensure the system functions reliably in an emergency. Eighthly, proper grounding is essential for all electrical systems, including Class 2 and Class 3 circuits. While these circuits typically operate at low voltage, proper grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, which helps to trip over current protection devices and prevent electrical shock hazards. The NEC specifies the grounding requirements for Class 2 and Class 3 circuits, and it is crucial to follow these requirements carefully. Ninthly, use appropriate connectors and terminations. Ensure that all connectors and terminations are rated for the specific wiring type and voltage level. Improper connections can lead to overheating, arcing, and even fire hazards. Use only listed and labeled connectors and terminations that are designed for the intended application. Tenthly, inspect and test the installation. After completing the installation, thoroughly inspect the wiring for any signs of damage or defects. Test the circuit to ensure it is functioning correctly and that there are no shorts or grounds. Proper inspection and testing can help to identify and correct any potential problems before the system is put into service. In addition to these general considerations, there are specific NEC articles that address the installation of Class 2 and Class 3 wiring in different types of locations. For example, Article 518 addresses the installation of wiring in places of assembly, which may include parking garages that are used for public gatherings. This article imposes additional requirements for wiring methods and protection to ensure the safety of occupants. Furthermore, Article 511 addresses the installation of wiring in commercial garages, repair and storage areas. This article provides specific requirements for wiring methods in areas where flammable liquids or gases may be present. Even though Class 2 and Class 3 circuits are typically low energy, it is still important to consider the potential for ignition hazards in these areas. Consider the specific environmental conditions within the parking garage. For example, if the garage is located in a coastal area, the wiring may be exposed to corrosive salt spray. In this case, it is essential to use wiring and connectors that are rated for use in corrosive environments. Similarly, if the garage is subject to extreme temperatures, the wiring must be able to withstand these temperatures without degrading or failing. When running exposed wiring, consider the aesthetics of the installation. While functionality and safety are paramount, it is also important to ensure that the wiring is installed in a neat and professional manner. Avoid running the wiring in haphazard or unsightly ways. Use cable ties or other methods to bundle and organize the wiring. Consider the long-term maintenance and accessibility of the wiring. Ensure that the wiring is installed in a manner that allows for easy access for future maintenance or repairs. Avoid burying the wiring behind walls or ceilings where it will be difficult to reach. Keep detailed records of the wiring installation, including the location of all circuits, wiring types, and termination points. These records will be invaluable for future troubleshooting or modifications. Proper planning and design are essential for a successful Class 2 and Class 3 wiring installation. Before starting the installation, carefully plan the routing of the wiring, the location of all devices and equipment, and the wiring methods to be used. Consider all of the factors discussed above and make sure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. Remember that the NEC is a minimum standard for safety. In many cases, it may be prudent to exceed the minimum requirements to provide a higher level of protection and reliability. For example, even if the NEC permits exposed wiring, it may be a better choice to use raceways in certain areas to provide additional protection from physical damage. Finally, consult with a qualified electrical contractor or engineer if you have any questions or concerns about the installation of Class 2 and Class 3 wiring. These professionals have the knowledge and experience to ensure that the installation is done safely and correctly. They can also help you to navigate the complex requirements of the NEC and other applicable codes and regulations. In summary, while the NEC generally permits Class 2 and Class 3 wiring to be run exposed in parking garages, careful consideration must be given to the potential for physical damage, environmental factors, and other hazards. Proper planning, design, and installation are essential to ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system. Always consult with a qualified electrical professional if you have any questions or concerns.